whatever you're cutting or ending or severing is probably going to work out for the best. It could impact quitting a job, but benefiting your finances. It could end up changing where you live. This could be the beginning of a new rental home or rental property, but it's all under the umbrella of something that's absolutely destined. And any changes you're making, say if it's a rental property situation or a home, you're looking for the dream home that lasts a long time.
Lunatic astrology.
Hello, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your month of July 2026. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how amazingly big this month really is. Well, we don't even have an eclipse. We don't need one. We have a first and once in a lifetime formation in our sky. We're calling it Barbo's cradle or a basket, and it is so rare. It's going to make shifts in 4 parts of your life that are pretty darn important. But at the same time, Jupiter, the greater benefic, is getting ready to change signs as well and begin to dominate a house that you normally associate with money. This leads to more financial wellness in your life beginning in the month of July, as well as Mars changing signs, which he does every 2 years, and going into a part of your chart that can suggest significant turning points regarding your work and livelihood and your income, as well as some changes perhaps in your debt situation. Money you owe could be eliminated. We're going to bring this into focus in great detail for you today. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Lori Lothian, and this is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. And in today's video, we're going to break down your astrological story week by week during the month of July. It's a big deal month. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. If you've been watching 4 or 5 of my videos already in the last while and you haven't subscribed, why not? Subscribing is a big tip jar in the YouTube algorithm. Every subscription helps, and every notification bell and every comment and every hype helps my channel grow. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And by the way, I'm a teacher of astrology, and this is my 7th year teaching Sky Reader. Learn to be your own astrologer and time your best life by taking my course coming up in September. Runs for 7 whole weeks. There's weekly Q&As. There's a lot of fun. And we also have a Discord and a Facebook group this year as to meet other students and get to know them. And we also have, of course, the weekly Q&As that attend the course. Come join me. Come have fun. I have teaching assistants to help me run the course who are also professional astrologers. If you're at all interested in learning the language of astrology, it's like learning to read sheet music or just learning to read a language. We're going to teach you how to do it. We're also going to teach you how to use 2 simple but very effective timing tools as well, so that by the end of the 6-7 weeks together, you're able to do some of your own forecasting. So I hope to see some of you in class, and the information box below is likely the enrollment link for the super early bird discount price. It runs out at the end of July. This lowest pricing possible for early birds will never again continue. If by any chance you look below and there is no link to sign up, you'll instead be seeing an early bird wait list. We'll see where you are when you catch this video. Let's get started. All right, so Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising folk. All right, your sky is pretty steady in the sense that Saturn, the lord of your sign who rules you, is staying put in the sign of Aries, where he'll be until 2028. So you and Aquarians aren't having a lot of change in terms of the lord of your sign moving around and doing anything particularly important, just hunkering down in the sign of the warrior. However, you are being highly activated, as are most signs, by the planetary shifts of the month. The biggest news is the last day of June, Jupiter segued into the sign of Leo, the sign of kings. And in your sky, that represents a part of the chart that is called your 8th house of chunky money. It's unearned income. It's resourced money from banks, mortgages and financial institutions, investments, money from inheritances, spousal support, in-law money, money from your all kinds of things like Google AdSense revenue or royalty income from a book. Look at J.K. Rowling, a stellium in her 8th house. She's a trillionaire based on her book royalty income and other such things. So that kind of unearned income, not a paycheck, could come from like chunks of money, including winning money. That kind of money is where the 8th house can open up doors of opportunity. What is Jupiter? Opportunity. Lucky Jupiter, Mr. Opportunity, Mr. Growth, Mr. Wealth, Mr. Expansion, lands in that 8th house this month. Now, he will be there for a year. So it's not just about the month of July, but it is beginning to be felt by you as an activating presence, especially because he will be part of the Barbo basket in the third week of July. Do you have a basket out? Alms for the poor, or give me some wealth, or help me with my money? That's kind of the third week of July in your sky. And we're going to break down how you might even come into some money luck or debt relief or something like that. But we'll get to that week when we get there. The second major planetary change of direction or anything important is Mercury retrograding and Mars moving into Gemini. Now, I'm going to be showing you the chart, but just know that Gemini is a house you associate with debts. You might owe a karmic debt, you might owe a money debt, but you're indebted here. And you're also indentured. So it's our job house, our work house. And so job, work, debts, pets, rental properties, right? Indentured servitude, you're renting the land or the property, are very activated by Mars. And he gets into this part of this new activation story for the first time, June the 28th, as you enter the month, but doesn't leave until August the 11th. So most of July is that Mars and Gemini in your sixth house story. That is also a part of Barbo's basket. So there's a big deal going on. Finally, the energy of your Mercury retrograde, which began to happen on the 29th of June, but continues on all the way until July the 23rd. Well, when Mercury retrogrades, it's like back to the past, or things from the past return to us. And Mercury will retrograde, Capricorn, in the house of marriage partners and business partners. So marriage partners and business partners from your past return to you by phone call, text, or email. New communication from people in the past. It was pretty the normative when Mercury retrogrades in the seventh house. So watch for that. Hearing from those old long-term love partners out of the blue, in seeing what they have to say and what they're offering in that communication. That should be pretty, obvious to you in the first 3 weeks of July, what's going on with that story. So those are overview stories, but now we're going to talk instead. And we have a couple of moons this month as well. Of course, we always have moons, but one of them is in your marriage house, and that's a big deal too in the middle of the month. So let's get started. Let's break this down. Let me share the chart with you, and then like and subscribe, please. And let's get rolling. Oh, my mouse is complicated. It got stuck on paper. Okay, so here's the chart. We're going to roll through it together. I'm going to move week by week, and I'm going to try my best to keep the delineation kind of weekly, right? So you're understanding this week's main theme and the next week. We're here for 30 to 40 minutes. So settle in, take a pen and paper, and do some notes. I got a cappuccino to keep me going today, recording on June the 10th. By the way, I have a Patreon community, and they get everything early access ad-free. So if that appeals to you, go ahead and check out my Patreon community. So let's go ahead. On June the 29th, we're already starting into the story of Mercury stationing retrograde. And then as we move forward in your house of marriage and long-term committed love and business partners from the past, wanting to reconnect in some way. On the actual 1st of July, one of the major stories is a new series of connections that planets are making with Chiron. This is where we have a primal chironic wound that we need to heal in order to extract our natural talents, gifts, and our key to purpose. And Chiron entered into the Taurus sky, where he'll be for 7 years in a test run through to mid-September. He entered here in June the 19th. And so you're experiencing now a new tasting of the chironic wound in the house of romantic love, children, fertility, sexuality, creativity, and on we go. Now, you can go watch one of my 2 different Chiron and Taurus video type things to find out more for your sign. But in the meantime, the key here, the key Chiron, the key to purpose, is going to start off on July the 1st with a square to Lord Jupiter, who is now freshly moved into Leo. There may be a chironic wound around themes of good fortune and money, where you feel somehow you have to heal something there. Like, where is my good money fortune anyway? Why don't I ever have good money fortune? Or where I don't ever get big inheritances and lottery wins or something like that. However, at the same time, Jupiter is bounty, and he will try to bring you big wins. And maybe the healing is you finally do win some money. I'm not sure. Jupiter Chiron is teaching you something important, and it will activate a part of the sky that also connects to wounds regarding love and long-term committed romantic relationships, perhaps as well. Jupiter prefers the legal deal, if you know what I mean. Put a ring on it, sign on the dotted line. And with Venus here at the square, like watching over it, it definitely has a signature of some wounds around infidelity, betrayal, secret love relationships, love and sex and romance disappointments coming to a healing arc around July the 1st. Now, on July the 2nd, on July the 2nd, I was saying it right, Mars will bend the nose of fate, squaring the nose of fate in a way that's extremely rare. Mars wants to make a decision and take an action. He wants to end and sever. He always cuts like a scalpel. He's in your 6th house of pets, debts, cut the debt, work, quit the job, rental properties. Are you choosing to execute a rental agreement ending or to pursue a new one? This is also your health matters. We're going to talk about health especially. Be careful here, please, because Mars and Uranus are coming together at exactly 3 degrees of Gemini. It's going to be really in your face around July 3rd and 4th. Yes, that big celebration in the United States. And because Mars rules fever, heats, rashes, and injuries, and Uranus is unexpected and sudden, and Gemini can rule the hands and arms or the lungs, be careful around those themes at this time. Take precautions around July 3rd and 4th. Do not injure yourself, and you'll be fine. Just be careful. On the other hand, because there's a nodal bending to the north node, backtracked to 0 degrees of Pisces, and this is the mean node. The true node is closer to 2 or 3. Either way, it's the same story. There is a nodal bending unfolding for destined fated circumstances over which you have very little control. This is debts. This is siblings. This is debts. This is neighbors. This is debt. This is cousins. This is debts. This is foreign lands, foreign shores, courts, judges, and legal matters. All said and done, anything to do with where you're indebted financially or karmically, you're coming into destined pivots of severing or turning or changing those stories in some unexpected, surprising, and radically inventive way. Maybe it feels like a breakthrough or a break free moment, another way to parse Uranus. But Mars, boy, is he on his turning point pivot for you. And partly because this is going to be coming into part of the Barbo's basket that's coming up this summer, and already you see the mini grand trine flow. Whatever you're cutting or ending or severing is probably going to work out for the best. It could impact quitting a job but benefiting your finances. It could end up changing where you live. This could be the beginning of a new rental home or rental property, but it's all under the umbrella of something that's absolutely destined. And any changes you're making, say if it's a rental property situation or a home, you're looking for the dream home that lasts a long time because of Neptune and Saturn in the 4th house. So changing your home and renting a new home, for example, or renting your home out, these are all things that Mars Uranus might want to do in the 6th house. Unfortunately, your pets may encounter a crisis, so be careful with your animals as well, especially July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Unfortunately, if you have pets, this would be a little bit of a dangerous window, and I wouldn't let them run outside, without a leash or anything like that. That's all I'm going to say. Keep your pets indoors July 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's a precaution, but it's better to safe than sorry, correct? Right. And if you have a fated desire to work in writing, teaching, learning, communicating, online, social media, pivot points that surprise you, bring opportunities, perhaps even for career paths that involve those particular orientations in your work. I'll be doing a deep dive into this Mars-Uranus conjunction. We're going to talk about the deeper meaning of it in a separate video. That's why liking and subscribing is, gets you there to watch the deeper dive into that story. Moving on. We get it around the bend here, and we notice that the sun is squaring Saturn on July 6th. So we're still in the first week. Sun, flash in the pan. It takes a day for this to happen. And Saturn in your 4th house. Sun in your 7th, Saturn in your 4th house. A break, a fracture, a difficulty, an illumination of something difficult regarding committed long-term love, business partnerships, and your domestic and home life. Now, the sun here, like most sunlight does, shines a light on a situation. In this particular, it's something hidden from view. What could you not see in relationship to business and love partners that maybe you can now see more clearly, especially given the sun illuminates the 8th house of hidden things such as infidelity, betrayals, and all of that. But hidden love stories or things that were not visible, maybe emerging, but it also has something to do with constriction and constraint, property and real estate. Finally, you think you're happily married, your partner stirs up a divorce papers. Okay, this is the energy of that. So you find out that you're not going to stay together. And I won't explain all the reasons why, but that's pretty clear that could happen just for a few Capricorns, especially you already know that the relationship was rocky. Jupiter tested your long-term love relationship for a year. If you're married, you knew the ins and outs and the ups and downs. He kicked the tires to make sure it was worth continuing. If your marriage has a cracked engine block, it is not going to be continuing on. So this is when you find out really what's going to happen here for some of you who are married. If you're not married, then don't worry. This is really, I'm talking to the married Capricorns. All right. The next story I would like to draw your attention to is the idea that as we move into the second week of June, the 7th to the 14th, one of the major activations is going to be Venus on the South Node. Now, Venus in Leo, she's good here. She's been in your 8th house for a while, June 13th to July 8th. June 13th to July 8th could have brought some sexual intimacy, almost tantric level spiritual communion in sexuality. It could have brought a few nice little touches on your stock investments or your banking or your loans or your finances. So you never know. But she's getting ready to vacate that part of the sky on the 9th of July. And unfortunately, she moves into a hard place for her. It's her detriment. She's fallen here in Virgo, and she's going to be with the South Node of loss. Now, this is where you could lose in a court case around July the 9th. This is where you could lose a travel plan falls apart and, goes down the drain. This is where a career opportunity that you were hoping to take off on doesn't materialize. This is where you might find yourself disappointed that you didn't get into your favorite college or university through your applications processes for September. This is where the disappointment is here also to do with love. If there's love disappointment at all showing up here, because Venus rules romantic love in your chart, your 5th house, then it's because of something to do with foreign people, foreign lands, foreign shores, or even legal complications. So those things get in the way of love. You couldn't get the visa, or your faraway lover couldn't get on a plane because the planes were grounded. But it would be more than just a flash in the pan. It's a deeper layer of disappointment. It's a karmic turning point that's about letting go when it comes to a love story, but also letting go in many other layers of reality. You might even want to let go of an old career ambition or old career path that you realize is no longer true for you. You'll feel that conjunction of Venus and the South Node on July the 9th. On July the 9th to the 11th, okay? And then on July the 12th, the sun will become conjunct or fusing, becoming one with Mercury. Mercury retrograde. I brought that up already. Which former long-term love partners are crawling out of the backdrop and coming into the present, or business partners as well, or maybe clients and customers that were important to you in the past, coming to the forefront. And because you are experiencing Mercury's sun conjunction here, there's a day of news or information that may emerge around July 11th, 12th, or 13th, okay? Maybe most likely on the 12th when the conjunction is pretty exact. This is information from headquarters, like God at Central Command, CENTCOM. CENTCOM has info for you to do with your marriage life, to do with marriage partners and the past, long-term committed love relationships and the past. And you're getting some news or information from someone else. And this information or news is going to be illuminating like a light what you need to understand, know, or see. Okay, it's simple. So pay attention to that. It resets your 7th house for about 4 or 5 weeks. It also connects to a lunation entering here. We're going to have a new moon, and with the moon already present at the Cazimi, it's kind of a divine blessing where the moon is holding space for this, like it's giving it a kind of a protective shield. But the news or information may impact location of residence as well. So pay attention to news or information that impacts relationship, past relationships, or place of residence coming through your sky June the 12th, a day or two before or after, but likely on June the 12th. On June the 14th, July the 14th, I'm sorry, did I say July the 14th? We have a new moon at 21 degrees of Cancer. If your Capricorn sun, moon, and rising is close to 21 degrees, the closer it is, the better. Remember, I talked about this in so many videos. Sun is your eternal nature, true self, and career. Moon, home, emotions, and nest, and mind and thoughts. And the rising sign is your character simulation avatar, which is highly sensitive as the game player avatar in the game of life. And this energy gets activated more intensely the closer the sun, moon, and rising is to 21 degrees. However, all of you feel it, and this is a new moon at 21 degrees on the 14th. The 14th new moon will be at 21 degrees, will open up a doorway for you of something connected to a new beginning in business partners, audience, marketplace, and client directions, as well as marriage. Now, every year you get a new moon here. Not every year does there some grand new beginning in a long-term love relationship. But because this has a Mercury retrograde squished in it, we're looking to business partners, business partners, customers and clients, or marriage type partners from the past, and starting over, new beginning, reset. And now every new moon takes 6 months to unfold, but every new moon shows you what it's about within 1 month after. So look for some evidence of that. Now, when I say starting over, you could even have an ex getting back in touch with you, but not necessarily getting back together with you. But there's a reset button involved in that communication. Something is resetting for you. All of this square Saturn, your Lord, in the 4th house, indicating an equal likelihood of whatever is resetting here, new moon, new beginnings, within 6 months, changing where you live. There's an 80% chance that some people in your home leave, you change your home. There's shifting of who lives with you or where you live within 6 months of this new beginning lunation. The last thing I want to say, that should you change your home, Mercury rules your house of the foreign places and foreign shores. There is a chance you could move abroad, but Mercury also rules your work house, and any moves may be connected to livelihood opportunities or rental property opportunities, or both. All right, so after the new moon, let me get some water. After the new moon on July 14th, and look for a couple of weeks to a month after for proof of concept. After the new moon, we move into the next week of the month. And we're going to start with the 13th, 14th to the 21st, around that time. And around the 13th, 14th, Venus will square Uranus. Now, Venus-Uranus squares are money surprises and love surprises. The only problem here is Venus is in detriment, right? She is not in good shape. And that could mean whatever the surprise is, it was not really welcome. You might feel like, thanks, universe, that I really don't like that, unexpected surprise. So the 13th, 14th, watch out for that. You can really nail it around the 13th, right here. But so 12th, 13th, 14th, yes, while we're having a new moon, there is a surprise. And it can be about debts and money and pets and rentals, but it also involves distant shores, foreign places, foreign people, academics, and court cases, because Mars is like Mr. Lawsuit, okay, or soldier in the 6th house. And this is courts and judges. There may be a disappointing judgment in a lawsuit, for example, coming through that surprises you. But there also could just be a positive surprise. If Venus can pull herself out of a funk, she can give you a positive surprise to do with a Lakshmi house, a prosperity and wealth, and luck house. And Uranus is also hooked up to Neptune. So it could be about your 4th house of home, property, land, real estate, and money, and an unexpected surprise. Venus rules the house of good fortune, including winning money, and Mars with Uranus rules your windfalls. Small case here, like maybe 25 to 30% chance you could win some money. This would be like government-like money, like a lottery ticket, money from institutional places and people. So if you're going to win some money, and it's a what do you call it? It's a long shot, but I would say go ahead and see what you can pull off here. Buy a ticket mid-July, so that July 12th, 13th, and 14th might be the reward. Lottery tickets, yes, okay. Unexpected, shocking changes that you didn't expect, but still have a positive side to them regarding work plans connected to travel and changes are another thought I have about this. And unexpected surprises in your life connected to a sibling who is 2 older or 4 younger than you in birth order. All right, continuing forward. The 14th to the 22nd of the month of July, that third week, is the Barbo basket cradle, this formation you're seeing here. You see how clear that looks? I find that these have a funny way of being like, they want to be filled like an apple bushel, and it wants to be filled by what 12 is, houses 12, 11, 10, 9 can bring you. And I will cover that in a deeper dive video that's coming out for this. It's especially just for this story. We haven't seen this as once in a lifetime, first in a lifetime, in thousands of years. This is really a rare formation. Part of it is this mini trine that everyone's been talking about forever and ever. It began to form last year and this year into 27. You're going to see that the sky is saying something to you like this. Through an axis of tension between chunky money and earned income, money you have saved and have in your wallet or pocketbook, or money that comes from your spouse or inheritance or divorce settlements or royalty income or whatever, other types of money that come in discrete amounts, and you know what I mean? And they're like a commission or something, that kind of money. And this kind of money are in opposition. Now, normally Jupiter and Pluto is a millionaire wealth yoga, but in opposition, there's a challenge to acquire that wealth. And so you've got a money story with tension coming through the third week of July. And at the same time, everything tries to resolve through the blue line. So here's some resolutions. Money axis tension with opportunity, but also intensity. Need you to resolve it from the house of debts and lawsuits, or that house of pets and rentals, resolve it through and work, resolve it through the house of, right? Every house is involved here, earnings and resources and making money, resolve it through the house of family of origin, mom or dad, people you grew up with, including siblings, and resolve it through the family of origin and extended family in general with the Vedic approach. So money resolutions through extended family and family of origin metrics, yes. Also, maybe through real estate property sale, buy, or purchase, or move. And this energy opens up the potential for also resolving something connected to other people's money that's been holding you back. For example, you've been waiting forever for that spousal agreement to formalize for your divorce. And you know you're going to get some money, but it's been like really hard. Or money from inheritance that's been delayed, or anything like that. There's a kind of resolution attempt here at money that comes to you in a chunk and how it can possibly come to you in a positive way. Now, the third week of July is where the cradle or basket is most intense, but you're still filling this basket through to kind of waning, but the end of the month of July as well. I'll be doing a deeper dive into this. There's so many layers I could cover that I'm not, but the only thing I'll say to you now is that one of the cradle baskets are anchored by Neptune, and Neptune is in the sign of Aries, but that's where Saturn, your Lord, is sitting. There's a lot of focus on your family of origin here and money issues and or connections to your home and where you live. And a lot of the changes around money and habitat and debts and family money, including sibling money. So there's a big story for you to chew on, right, as this story unfolds for you. Mars can indicate some of this involves a sibling, one older, and I'm just looking at the specifics for you. And and also a sibling 3 younger or 3 older. Those are the places where you could see activation of sibling family origin, money, resolutions, inheritances, whatever else is going on, land and property, things like that. Ultimately, I'll be diving more deeply into it, but I see legal contracts and agreements being signed here as well. And some of those will produce more money for you or consolidate challenges financially. This is your third week of July, first in a lifetime story. So it's a whole third week. Really take it from the 14th to the 22nd and let me know how that unfolds in your story. In the middle of that Barbo week, we have July 19th. And you'll say a day before, or two days before, maybe a day after, on July the 19th, Mars and Saturn are in a creative harmony together. Typically, Mars and Saturn can work really well together. Sometimes there's frustration, but other times there's actually movement forward in ways that stabilize situations in your life, give them more form and structure than they've had before. Form and structure, home and land and property and real estate. Mars changes and moving. Maybe moving your home. But again, Mars is in a house of debt relief, Mars is in a house of debt payments, mortgages. Mars is in a house of rental property opportunities, suddenly. So look for changes of home, but in ways that stabilize a situation that needed to be stabilized. Somehow it was wobbly. It was a tripod with 3 legs, and now you got a good 4-legged structure here coming through around this time, July the 17th to the 20th, epicenter 18th and 19th. Okay. And it can stabilize the situation in the home. Like, let's say you have a elder parent living with you or grandparent, and they need to be rehomed somewhere. This would be them moving out, them finding a new place, you finding them a new place, that kind of thing. Right. Definitely stabilizes your money in general because Saturn rules your income house. So there's a new contract, like you could rent a place that's, going to be good for your money somehow. You're going to spend less or find a place that's closer to where you need to be. So you're not spending money on commuting, something like that. So money stabilizes as well under this July story around. Yes, I can say this out loud. My brain is now melting down around July the 18th, 19th. Put it on your calendar, see what stabilizes. And the last week of July, we're going to talk about next. There's a lot going on. Most of it's interesting and good, but we're going to take you through the last week of July and break it down bit by bit. So first of all, when we get to around July the 20th to the 22nd, Jupiter gets really busy, right? Now, Jupiter hanging out here, doing his thing, no big deal. But watch what happens as we move time forward and we get to around here. And we're starting to notice that Jupiter around July the 20th starts to hook up and very specifically, very accurately in the Barbo cradle to a perfect energy of being opposite Pluto and also sextile Uranus and also trine Neptune. In many ways, what we could call this moment in time is Jupiter's full participation in the Barbo cradle that really activates by the 20th and begins to wane by the 22nd. But just Jupiter being the greater benefic who brings good things to us, this is where the most magic happens in the cradle that you start to feel on the 14th. So just look for this as like to be the super duper kind of finale energy of the thing that's been building here. And Jupiter can also translate his participation to bounteous surprises connected to not just chunky money, but maybe also to things that are 3rd house and 12th house. So financial situations, a resolution connected to distant people, foreign shores and far off lands and people, or to travel opportunities, for example. All right, or royalty checks coming from a book publishing deal, or a sign-on bonus and severance package connected to publications and writing. These kinds of cross references here may be activating around July the 20th to the 22nd. As we move into July the 23rd, the sun will square Chiron. Well, I told you we're going to get a series of these windows where the new Chironic wound in the house of love, romance, children, fertility, pregnancy, creativity, art, and entrepreneurial endeavors will be squared. First, we had the Jupiter square around July the 1st. Now we're waking up a square from the sun who participates and repeats. So look for July 1st to feel a lot like July 22nd, 23rd. It could be a bookend. The sun is in its home kingdom. Jupiter is powerful and supportive, and Chiron wants to heal. And it could be a really big healing of a love wound, romance wound, sexual wound with your children and your relationship to them. Your children may have some healing in their own lives at this time, kind of good but intense, being forced upon them to confront this. And knowing that Jupiter always brings the best out of everything, Jupiter is here to bring benefic energy. It's not the end of the world. It's just a touch point. Are you wounded in your muse or artistic or creative endeavors? Are you wounded in your romantic life? And Jupiter's Sun square here are trying to find solutions, trying to find ways for you to shine a light, sun, into the darkness of the hidden realms of your psychological apparatus, the 8th house, to unwind where the wounds really come from. And some of them in this chart come from past lives, and some of them come from childhood. Both are true. It's a little bit of a soul work energy here for you to consider, alrighty, around this time frame of July 22nd, 23rd. Now, the sun is getting into a beautiful, as I said, connection to the Barbo basket. And so as the sun moves forward, it becomes more a part of the basket that was really activated on July the 14th to the 21st. Sorry, I'm recording in June, so I keep saying June. I'm recording on June 10th. So I think that the sun just fortifies what Jupiter started. So the basket continues to activate with the sun reinforcing the good directions Jupiter tried to put into play. So through until you just keep on going, all the way through to about the 27th, the basket gets deepened by what the sun is offering. What Jupiter started, the sun reinforces. And finally, we have Jupiter joining the sun in that conjunction that resets your life for a whole darn year. So for a whole year, starting around the oh, come on, Lori. Sorry. Starting around the, 6-degree conjunction, around the 29th of the month. There is a energetic fusion of two planets. While at the same time, Venus squares Mars. Two important stories co-present. This is a new beginning, a fresh start that lasts a year. You haven't seen it for 12 years. It's a new beginning in your chunky money, your occult magic, your spiritual liberation from the dream. With the South Node there, this could really bode well for Jupiter ruling your full moksha house for a spiritual enlightenment breakthrough coming into this year that follows a Jupiter conjunction, though you can look for lucky, positive things to develop, of course, around the 29th of June as well. It's not an either or, it's an and. At the same time, what about the two lovers in a square? Well, they're not always lovers. Sometimes it's about other factors, but with Venus in the 9th house of courts and judges or long distance and foreign places, and Mars in the house of sometimes dating, you might start dating someone from a foreign country under this, and it could be quite passionate. On the other hand, there's another code for this as well. Mars rules your 4th house, and he's in a rental house, and Venus says foreign places and lands, and she rules what brings you pleasure and romance. Some of you might be recalibrating where you live, connected to romantic love, and it may relocate you to somewhere new, and it could be to another country, or it could be to somewhere where you need to travel, right? Like you're not going to buy the house next door or rent the place next door. It's like a distance from where you currently have your main residence. So I can see residential shifts connected to foreign places, visas, passports, local environments as well. Venus is the exaltation lord of your 3rd house. So it looks again like it's a bit more of the same story, just taking another turn, really. Then we move on to your full moon, 6 degrees of Aquarius, happening at the end of the month on the 29th. The full moon in Aquarius is taking cue from the eclipse of February 28th, new moon behind us. And now we have a spotlight on what the next story is in that eclipse. February 28th, until now, there has been eclipse energy activating your money, earnings, resources. And also that eclipse in February activated your 3rd house, siblings, money from siblings, money connected to siblings, money connected to neighbors, cousins, aunts and uncles, money connected to travel, money connected to the online social media landscape, money, money, money. This money story that kicked off in February, because the node was still in the 3rd house, in eclipse land now becomes constellated as a normal full moon. A full moon is lighting your way to see more clearly where power and wealth exists for you, sometimes in marriage, sometimes in contractual agreements with others. And it wants you to notice and see the destined increase you're capable of creating, because the nodes of fate on the 28th of the month have moved backwards into your 2nd house of money. And it's pretty well guaranteed you're going to make more money in the next 18 months. So starting in the end of July, at 18 months, get ready to increase your pocketbook, savings, wallet, and wealth. And this earnings money is coming your way. And this is an eclipse in February that started the ball rolling, February 28th. It's now a connection to an increase of your savings, wallet, pocketbook, or earnings connected to the full light. So a fulfillment of a seed that planted here in February. It's many different ways it can go. It can be family money, legacy wealth money, sibling money under your chart, but it can also be job and earnings money as well. So there's a lot of different possibilities, but it's beginning to tip you towards financial increase at this time. And some of it can also be spousal support separation agreement monies. It can be termination of spousal support agreements. so that you don't pay that money, because Mars is activating the spousal support house. So the South Node means release one's spousal support. Either you stop getting it or you stop giving it, but you're going to make more money anyways. So you see this sea change coming through at the end of the month. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Now I'm hot. Don't forget that you could join me on Sky Reader. I'm hoping you will if you just want to learn the language of astrology enough to time your best life. I am your teacher. I've taught it 7 years and I keep getting better. We have 4 guest teachers every year teaching bonus content. I give you bonus content. There's live Q&As. My God, I give you a lot. It's priced really well. I hope to see you guys jump in at the deep dive early bird discount, okay? By the end of July, that's gone. So you want to jump in now instead of waiting to the last minute. We start in September. Date is coming. It should be below, probably mid-September. Stay tuned. See you guys around and enjoy the month of July.